Hey, Tony Gadsden's here. Now y'all gotta forgive me. I just finished my skin routine, so my toner, skincare still drying, and I ain't wanna rub it in too aggressively. So y'all forgive me. I ain't sweating. It's just my skincare. Wanted to come on here and talk to you about this Lil Smarty and how Lil Smarty deceives Lil Dummy. We mentioned it the other day briefly, talking about a lot of the events that are like Christian events, which I'm not against Christian events. I'm not against charging for events, but you gotta test the spirits. And in testing those spirits, you'll see like, okay, what is the benefit of this event? What is this event about? And why is it set up this way? Somebody was in the comments trying to defend the Acts 242 event, talking about they trying to do some discipleship and they got some good speakers there. And all that is understood, but if you're doing it with the right heart, them tickets should be $25, right? It shouldn't be a $250 ticket where it's 300 tickets for $250. So it ain't just about what you're doing, it's how you doing it. But what you got to understand about Lil Smarty. Now, Lil Smarty, we all deal with Lil Smarty. And I have been Lil Smarty in my past. You maybe have been Lil Smarty. And you typically are Lil Smarty or Lil Dummy. The issue with being Lil Smarty is this demonic spirit is when you have that spirit of Lil Smarty on you, you will preach bad doctrine. You will misuse the gospel. You will misuse good. You will use good for evil. Random example. People with the spirit of Lil Smarty on them will start a non-profit organization, but be misusing the money that's being raised by the organization. They will start an organization and the organization is more top heavy, meaning they getting a huge, insane salary as a CEO or executive director, and it's very, very little going to operations, like actually doing what they say that they do. That's what that spirit of Lil Smarty does. Lil Smarty comes in and does corporate fraud. Lil Smarty does embezzlement. Lil Smarty does Christian events or incorporate and get people to drop their guard with the events and get people to drop their guard with prayer, speaking in tongues, praise and worship, and then hit people across the head for all their money. It was a lot of people in the comments last time talking about the covered by God and the millions and all of that. I haven't really looked into it, but back in the day when somebody showed me the Millions conference, the clip that I seen was a shorter brown skinned lady on the stage speaking in tongues. And that's what threw me off. But I don't know if that clip was from something else. So for one, we shouldn't be mixing money and talking about making millions of dollars, not just the reaching millions of people, but it's a lot of people that get indoctrinated, and it's a lot of people that get under these spirits and get under these Lil Smarty spirits, and then they become blind and they have no discernment. And what a lot of people don't realize is Lil Smarty will use prayer and praise and worship and speaking in tongues to get you to drop your guard so that you don't really notice that you're not actually getting what you paid for. And you don't know it until you actually go and you see that, oh, this wasn't worth the thousands of dollars that it took me to get here. And somebody in the comments said that. She said she went to one of these conferences. She said she went to the Millions conference. She was talking about that one because the Act 242 ain't happened yet. She said she went to the Millions conference, and when she left, she felt bamboozled because she had spent money on flight, money on hotel, and then everything that she was taught, that they talked about, was basic level elementary information that you can Google. And that's what I'm talking about. But there was prayer and all of this stuff going on. So you mixing God. So what you have to realize is, and I'm not speaking just only about that conference, but just, and I want you to be able to relate this in life. You have to get out of your feelings, and you got to get out your feelings, and you have to take these messages and you got to look at it in your entire life. Because, so don't just think about this of just conferences, dude. I'm not just talking about conferences. This also, Lil Smarty could be the man or woman that you are in a relationship with. And because they use big words, or because they speak eloquently, or because they are poetic, they wax poetic, they lyrical, because they're deep, you drop your guards. And the next thing you know, you emptying money out of your savings to invest in their harebrained scheme. And then you invest $10,000 into Lil Smarty's venture, but Lil Smarty take and enriches him or herself with 8,000 or 9,000 of the dollars, Gucci and Louis Vuitton and whatever, big house, not literally like the 8,000-9,000, but I mean the money that's being put in, because it could be 800,000, it could be 100,000, it could be 200,000. Now this big house is bought, or these designer items and all of this stuff, and then only 10% is used toward what actually was supposed to be used for. And then from there, more money is needed. So let me give you another example of Lil Smarty. The real life example now. TD Jakes have a spirit of Lil Smarty on him at times, because he used really big words and he gets really deep. But when you go watch the people clips who have broken down his sermons, who show his stuff, he say a lot of stuff that's not biblical. He say a lot of stuff that is not the word of God. I'm gonna give you another example, just so you could, the guy, Jay Morrison, out of Atlanta, who did the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. He raised like 10, 11, 12 million dollars. And all these people put this money in, and he was supposed to take that money and invest into real estate. He took the money and he bought a big office space that makes no money. And he bought a house for him and his wife and their kids. The rest of the money was spent. I seen him in a Rolls Royce Cullinan, or some type of Rolls Royce, or some type of vehicle. Rest of the money was spent. Nothing really. They might have bought one other little piece of real estate, because it's a guy on Instagram that's exposing him, because he was the largest investor. And he come in at the largest investor at only like 40K. So all the rest of the people put in like $500. And they got scammed. But guess what? He tall, he's slender, he a smooth talker, city slicker from New York, fast talking, talk good, big words, game, got all the game. Boom, then got a wife, got married to a black queen. So another thing that Lil Smarty do, boom, you drop your guard. Showcasing his wife talking, wife front and center, wife all part of the business, wife doing, she the spokesperson. Lil Smarty. Was the wife deceived? I don't know. It kind of looks like it to a degree. Now, at some point, she probably could have been like, yeah, this don't look all the way above board. Like everything ain't going the way it need to go. But I honestly think she was deceived because I done seen that type of master manipulator. I done seen that type. And that's what I'm calling Lil Smarty. And see, the thing about it is, that's why I don't come on here. And you got to be careful. Because somebody told me that the gentleman, Myron Golden, used to be a pastor. But he talks very, very well. He speaks very well. Sounds like a white man when he's speaking. If you're not looking at he black, you won't hear no inner city. You won't hear no inner city. You won't hear no black struggle. You won't hear no Title F school or whatever they call Title I school. You won't hear none of that in the way he speak, and he talk about God. But there's people paying him $250,000 for one day of his time. There's people paying him. He done did over 100 million, and what he teaching you is a sales funnel and sales tactics from greedy white men. It's not a divine download. It ain't no divine download. It's nothing unique. He literally teaching you, and I done had clients who done went through the program and paid $50,000 to be in a group. $50,000 to be in a group. That's a spirit of Lil Smarty. It don't necessarily mean that it have to be malicious. Don't think that every spirit that the devil use is gonna pull out a machete and stab you in your chest. You can't think about it like that. It slowly break you down. So think about this right here. I got clients that spent $50,000 to go through a mastermind. They got nothing to show for it. They got nothing to show for it. Like the 50,000 did not make them 500,000. The 50,000 did not make them 100,000. They still got to keep selling the rest of their life. They still got to keep, whereas that 50,000 could have bought 2 houses in Alabama. They could have rented them houses out, and they could have been making money for the rest of their life. They could have went to a black neighborhood in a lot of different cities in the South and bought a house. I bought a house, a 3-bedroom house for $45,000. My tenant paid $750 a month, and I gave her and her 3 children, I gave them December off. That $45,000, that house today is worth $160,000. So these people, and one of my clients told me, she was like, you know, I paid the money, I was in the group, but it really was just like a who's who. It was a lot of faces in there that I know from Instagram, and it was just really you get into the group just to flex that you got 50K, but you could be broke, busted, and disgusted, and put that on your credit card, that your first big business credit card you got, or you built business credit and use your business credit card and you broke. And I already know that because this is the stuff that I do. Like right now today, I still haven't gone to Tony Gaston's Academy. I have earned multiples of millions of dollars, multiples of millions. And when you go to Tony Gaston's Academy right now, today, because I ain't going to change my word, you go there today, you're going to see courses for $9.30. Them very courses is the information that I learned from making millions as a purpose-based entrepreneur. Them very courses. That same course is something that a Myron Golden would charge you $10,000 for. And you will pay $10,000 and you will get very little, or you will get something, but it's not worth $10,000 because it charged so much that it can't even be worth what you paid. But it was a psychological trick. See, the spirit of Lil Smarty does is psychological tricks. It makes you feel like you're with somebody who deep. You're with somebody who's smarter than you. You're with somebody who's more eloquent than you. That's what the spirit of Lil Smarty does. It makes you feel like that. That's why God, when God really using somebody, a lot of times God won't use people who are eloquent. A lot of people make fun of me for my accent and because of how I talk. But I used to be trying to talk like Lil Smarty, and the Lord say, just be yourself. And then when I seen that Moses said he was slow of tongue, but yet God called him to go speak truth to power, to go speak to Pharaoh, I'm like, okay, I see. I get it now. And I kept wanting to go and get me a degree. And my wife would always tell me, she said, why do you need a degree? Like, you would still just be buying into the system. You would just be, because she got a master's degree. So you would think she would be preaching education. But she like, God has chosen you without man's validation, without man's stamp. She said that might be a special way that he used you. The same thing about becoming a pastor. I wanted to become a pastor. And she said, listen, it's going to come a day where reverend, pastor, bishop is actually going to be a stain, because there's so many fake pastors that people are going to stop trusting the church. And she said the fact that you don't have reverend and pastor on your name may be the only reason you have reach and you have access into people's hearts to be able to give them the gospel. My wife is a woman of few words when it comes to giving wisdom. And everything what I'm saying, I'm expounding upon it, but it only be one or two sentences that she say. She don't claim to be no prophet, no prophetess, no prayer warrior, none of that. But God will speak through it now. So guess what? When I said, Lord, I'm going to just be myself, because I know I grew up, my grandma was from Alabama. I wanted to emulate how she talked. I said, Lord, I'm going to be myself. And the Lord took and made me the #1 life coach in the world. African-American life coach in the world. Meaning no other life coach that do one-on-one sessions have a larger audience than me across all of social media. And the Lord had my post reaching 20 million people a week. And it showed me. But see, I know where my heart is at. And so a lot of times people think I'm crazy when I charge $9.30 for a course that I could be charging $2,500 for, and that people will pay $2,500 for. It's because I don't have the spirit of Lil Smarty on me, and I don't want to take advantage of people. So I met a lady. I'm in Las Vegas at the NBA Summer League, and I met a lady, and she was like, "Where you live at?" And I told her where I live at. She was like, "Oh, I'll be coming over there." I'll be out there with my mentor. And I was like, "Okay, who your mentor?" She said, "Myron Golden." I was like, "Oh, okay." She said, "Yeah, I'm a doctor." No, I asked her what she do. She said, "I'm a doctor from LA." I said, "Okay, how much what is that like?" She said, "Well, he have a $50,000 program, but it's really not enough. For it need to be more." Now, she's a single woman. He a handsome, fit, well-spoken man. Me being a man with an audience of women, I know a lot of times a woman will just pay for masculine energy. A woman will just pay to be around. And I done dealt with some of those spirits, and I have to get my distance. It's some women that'll pay just to hear masculinity. Because see, a lot of women not so big on sex. Like a lot of women not nymphos or sex addicts. So a lot of women feel covered and secure just by conversation with a man. A woman could be emotionally in love. And she say, yeah, he has a $250,000 program, a $500,000 program, and then he also has $1 million program. And to what she was saying, it sounded like she on the 250. And she said, it's really helped my business. But what a lot of people don't understand is it's not what you're paying for that help your business. It's your mindset that tells you, because I'm investing, I'm going to receive. So it's not actually the money. It's not the information that you're learning that's helping your business. Because we aren't doctors. I have a lot of clients that's doctors as well, and I help them build a brand. We aren't doctors. You can learn how to run your doctor's office on your own and from other doctors who have been successful doctors. When you pay a coach, it's really seed time and harvest that you tapping into. It's really your mindset of expectation. It's really you start walking by faith because you just dropped the bag. So it's the same thing with the seminars. When you go to a seminar, it ain't even that the seminar was so good and the teaching was so deep and it was so good. It's that you spent your money, so you are in expectation. So if you go and it's free, you don't value the information as much because it was free, unless the information is actually good. So if you pay money for cubic zirconia, you see it as a diamond. Whereas somebody can give you a diamond for free and you will see it as cubic zirconia. So you will buy cubic zirconia in a Tiffany's box before buying a raw natural diamond in a brown bag. See, I am the diamond in a brown bag. There are several other people out here preaching and teaching who are diamonds in a brown bag. We either come on with a t-shirt instead of a blazer. We got an accent from either New York or the South or LA. We might have a different type of quirky personality. We might be a little funny sometimes. Like diamonds in brown bag. I had a toxic mentor who used that terminology. He said that, and I never forgot that. And he was mentoring me in the film industry, and I had wrote a script. And he was basically telling me, like, your script that you wrote, it's a diamond in a brown bag. He like, the script, the storyline is good, but you got so many typos and mistakes and grammar errors in your script, it diminishes it. He said, my script not actually better than yours. It's not actually that good, but I don't have a single mistake in it. I put cubic zirconia in a Tiffany's box. And I ain't gonna tell who said that, because he actually a name out there that make movies and stuff. and I thought that. Now, he told me what I already knew, because I reached out to him after seeing his work on TV, and when I watched it, I was like, this thing trash. But I'm like, how in the world he got in this position? And this thing is terrible. But that's how it was. And I realized that. So, and I remember when I came out back in the day, it was me and another guy named Paul Carrick Brunson. Now, Paul, he really not like deep or anything, or he not really like eloquent. Like, he's not really like a gifted speaker or teacher, but he polished. He looked like he could be the son of like a Myron Golden. He polished. So because he is well-spoken and he dressed kind of eclectic, and he kind of like what in the South, how we call the white black boy. And it's a derogatory term that black people who speak proper get really upset about that. But it actually is truth to it. It just basically says your family somewhere along the line had access to information and education. So you learn how to read. Your family learned how to read. And when you read, you see that this word says application. And because you've learned how to read, you see the word application. Whereas if you from a poor area and you don't get to get education and learn how to read, you might say that word appellation. So, how we say ambulance instead of ambulance. The word is ambulance, but from the inner city, from the lower levels, from the ground, from the mud, we say ambulance because we've never read the word, but we hear someone say ambulance and we can't pronunciate what they're saying because we haven't read. We haven't been taught how to read. So sometimes that mother or that father had a mother or a father, and at some point they was given access to education. So that's why when people say you taught white, they're not trying to be hurtful, because I come from those people who say you taught white. They're not trying to be hurtful. What they're saying in their limited language is, you grew up around white people, so you got to go to their school and you got to get their education, so you speak differently than me. That's what you taught white mean. It means you talk proper, but it means you talk proper because of your education and your reading and who you got to be around. So my sons talk different than me. And guess what I've learned? By them going to private school, which is predominantly white, it might be 5% color, 10% color, and the rest is white, their education is different. By the time my son hit first grade, he was already doing math work that I didn't do in the 12th grade. By the time my son, so now when we see Mark Zuckerberg could go to Harvard, drop out, and then take over the world, it's because the education he got before he even got to Harvard was already doctorate level education before he left high school. So his understanding and knowledge that he can take and apply is on a whole nother level. And definitely by the time my sons got to 5th grade, they were doing work that I had never seen in school. But my wife went to private school as a young, from kindergarten through 8th grade. So she had seen that work. I went to public school, kindergarten through 9th grade. And then when I got to private school in 10th grade to play basketball at the private school, it was too late for me. I couldn't catch up to what they was doing. So the teachers just gave me grades. And if I was failing the class, they took me out the class and sent me to the gym to shoot. See, a lot of people don't understand that the origination. So that's why you're going to see Lil Smarty on a lot of white people, a lot of educated people. The spirit that it's a documentary called Broke. The spirit that steals millions from these hard-working black athletes is the spirit of Lil Smarty. The spirit that I'm calling Lil Smarty. Here you have white men who a lot of them are professing Christians. And they have stolen millions from black athletes. Because guess what the spirit on the black athlete is? Little dummy. He feels less than. He feels inadequate. That's what that spirit does. It steals your confidence. He feels less than. He feels inadequate. So listen, although I'm country, and although I don't have a college degree, there is not one person on the face of this earth that I look up to. Because I look up to Jesus. I don't feel inferior to any speaker, to any coach, to any degree, to any doctor. I don't feel inferior. And so the only reason why I thought about getting a degree is because so many people have the spirit of little dummy on them. that I'm like, Lord, do I got to go get a degree? Lord, do I got to speak proper and pretend to speak a different way so that those with the spirit of little dummy on them will hear me? And I can pose as Lil Smarty, but actually have a genuine heart for Christ and charge Christ-like prices. So guess what? Because a large part of my audience is women, I could be charging Myron Golden prices. And because I'm younger than him and just as fit as him, and to some women could be just as handsome or more handsome, I could be charging those same prices. But his $1 million program is my $10,000 program. And it's just because I have a heart for Christ and I'm not in love with money. I don't need that much money. Like, I don't need to charge someone $50,000 to be in a group coaching program. That makes no sense to me. Like, we don't need that much money. When I hit $500,000 a year, I probably was 30 years old. When I hit $500,000 a year, I could do anything on the face of this earth. You don't need that much money. At $500,000 a year, I can't fly private all the time. But if I want to live off 100K, if I want to say, hey, some people make 100K, that's 6 figures, that's successful. I could live off 100K. I could have took another 80K and bought a jet card and got 12 hours of flying. It might be an hour and a half flight from where I live to Atlanta. I could have did that flight 3, 4, 5 times, take picture on a private jet, spent 80K, got a picture on a private jet, sell a program that's 20,000, 50,000. And because people see me on a private jet, that 80K make me 800K. But I don't need that much money. I don't need to do that. So yes, I earn $1 million plus, but with barely trying, because I got a heart for Christ. And because I do the work of the Lord and he blesses me. But I don't have a bunch of systems and funnels and click funnels. I signed up for click funnels one time, which is what a lot of these people out here in the industry use. I canceled it in a month. I'm not finna do all this foolishness. I'm not finna do all this foolishness. Because what it does, the click funnels is the spirit of Lil Smarty. And it plays on the spirit of Lil Dummy. And it say, come in here, get in this funnel, and let me slow drip you. Email with value, email with value, email with value. Prep you for the ask. Prep you for the ask. Ask. And when I ask for an exorbitant amount of money that is 10, 20, 30 times the amount of what you selling is worth. And these people don't have a conviction. So when I see these individuals out here with these crazy conference prices and these crazy course prices and these crazy coaching prices, that's when I realize they have a love of money. It's guys who I could look at them and tell they don't know more than I know. I could listen to them and tell they don't know more than I know. I reached out to one of them through their website because the guy had a nice YouTube. And I'll give you 2 examples. So the one guy I reached out to, he got a YouTube and he teach valuable information. He teach information. He have thought-provoking conversations. And he's like he's from another country. His family from another country. War-torn country. His skin is white though. He's not a black guy. And I reached out, his sales team reached back out. And I said, I want to do consulting. I want to learn from this guy how he built this YouTube. Sales guy called me. He said, okay, well, for 1 hour, Now, mind you, at this time, I'm charging like $150, $250 an hour for coaching. He said for 1 hour, it's in person. If you want to come to his house, it's $30,000 for 1 hour. If you want to do it by Zoom, it's $20,000 for 1 hour. So now these people, what the spirit of Lil Smarty does is it make you think that the more you spend on it, the more you're going to get out of it. Let me ask you this. My YouTube channel, which is public information now because of the drop that I did with Gigastar, over that 12-month period, it had made $280,000 over the last 12 months. If I told you I could teach you how to make $280,000 a year from using your gift on YouTube, what would that be worth? At least $2,800. It really technically could be worth $25,000. Why is that course, YouTube for Beginners, where I'm teaching you how I started my channel and how I upload videos and exactly what I do? It's just I got the favor of the Lord because I got a heart with Christ. I walk with the Holy Spirit. So I got the favor of the Lord. I don't do all the tricks and gimmicks. And the channel has gone up. So now it'll probably make more over the next 12 months. So what would that be worth? For you to make what more than a lot of lawyers make, more than a lot of doctors make on YouTube using your gift. Tell me why that course is on Tony Gass's Academy right now for $9.30. Now, it's a $300, $500 course that I charge for at the height. I charge $500 because it got a return on investment. You get on here, you be consistent, you get into the algorithm, boom, it's going to be your season. But you can't determine when that's going to be. So I don't make those kind of promises. I don't make financial promises because everybody's favor ain't the same. Everybody's favor ain't the same. Everybody's heart ain't the same. So I don't know how your heart is. I don't know who you work for. So you might not have the same results as me. I work for God. My heart is pure. I live what I teach. All you could do is take my word for that. You don't know that to be true. So all you could do is look at proof in the pudding. And so, but I charge so little, and I do a sale like that because I give away so much. I give away so much. Yesterday, I gave away to family over $3,000. I give away so much, which we're not supposed to talk about our alms, but I'm using that as an example. I don't come on here and brag about that. I'm using it as an example for teaching purposes, just to help you understand. And so I give so much to where I don't mind staying broke. I don't just hoard money and sit on money, because if you hoarding money in a bank account, you could die tomorrow. And now that money is left to somebody who did not earn it and don't have the knowledge to keep it. So all they gonna do is spend it. So I spend my money. I live. I spend my money. I bless people. I help people. And I live. But I charge honest, fair wages. I don't charge what I can charge just because I can charge it. And that's what I want these people to understand that's out here. It's like a conference ticket at the most should be $100. But it should come with a free book. You get to sit up front and you get to meet the speakers. Like when you cross $100, okay, then it need to be multiple days, but it still need to have products. So like that Acts 2:42 conference, that's the spirit of Lil Smarty playing on the spirit of Lil Dummy. I seen one lady say she spent her money, ain't no refund, so her and her friends, they got to go. She said they really don't want to go no more. You're not finna learn nothing. You finna be moved emotionally. And that is what the black church has done to us. And that's why so many black people have church hurt, because black people understand emotions because we come from trauma in America. So because we were traumatized as slaves, and then we were traumatized through Jim Crow, and then we were traumatized through redlining or gentrification, and I don't fully understand what those things mean, and systemic racism, because we have trauma, this trauma trickle down. So then with that trauma, you have in the black home, you have rape and molestation. You have physical abuse from man to woman. You have abuse from woman to child, from man to child. So you have trauma. So one thing that we understand is emotions. So when you go to a black church, when you go to a white church, they don't really understand emotions because white people don't, on average, don't come from trauma. There are exceptions to the rule, and it's always people with the spirit of a little dummy in the comments trying to argue exceptions to the rule. We don't talk about exceptions. We talking about the majority. So yes, I got white friends who come from poverty and come from the trailer park and they got trauma. But that's not the norm. That's not the average white person. When you go to a white church, they open their Bible and they read their Bible. Now, they started doing emotion like the guy Furtick. But he got black friends. Furtick is friends with T.D. Jakes and the Michael Todd, Stephen Furtick, the white guy. And he looked like Elvis' grandson sometimes with that black slick back hair he be doing. But he get up there and he get all up there, all that. So when you go to the black church, what they do emotional speaking. So you start crying because you're thinking about your poverty, your pain, your trauma, and what they talking about really might not even have nothing to do with you. Like, you ain't sniff Job problems. You ain't came within 1,000 yards of Job problems. You go read the book of Job, but they talking about the book of Job. You ain't sniff Jesus' crucifixion, but they talk about Jesus' crucifixion. So now you take the pain that Job felt, the pain that Jesus felt, and you apply it to your low bank balance. And then they tell you, empty your bank balance like the woman with 2 pence. And when you empty your bank balance, or you go into the negative for this here church, God gonna pour out on you. No, he not. No, he is not. Because you are giving to getting. You sitting in church emotionally drunk and playing the lotto. You sitting in church and church become your lotto ticket. Church become your casino, your slot machine. And you empty your purse to give it to a begging heathen because he has convicted you about your money because we in a recession, so the church is in a recession. Do you wonder why so many messages right now that's going viral online, so many sermons right now is about giving money so you can reap a harvest? Because the church in a recession. And when we had extra money in the pandemic, Pastor was flooded. Pastor got that coloring. Pastor got that G-Wagon. Pastor got the G-Wagon, the Escalade, the coloring, the Ferrari, boy. Pastor got to fly private. He couldn't post it now. Flew private to Cabo. Took the missus over there on private PJ. 40,000 round trip. 80,000 round trip. Cabo, Waldorf, Astoria. Pastor living good. Recession. So now, recession, people naturally not giving. And then it's a few speakers online who is teaching that tithing is not biblical. That you don't actually have to give 10% to the church. And they using scripture to make that statement. So people have seen that and they like, And then some people just ain't got it to give. So now the church is starting to go into a recession unless the pastor is walking with the Holy Spirit and is a true man of God. Then he gonna flourish in the famine, in the recession, because God already gave him the wisdom like he gave Joseph under Potiphar, or whatever the man's name was. Not Potiphar. What was the man's name? Y'all know the man's name, the king name. Like he gave Joseph when Joseph was putting up that 20%, saving 20% of all of the harvest, so that when the famine came, they had enough to give out to the people. See, the man of God who really served God, God gave him that wisdom. See, I'm just not coming into that season of wisdom. I'm just not coming into that season of stewardship like that. I'm just not coming into it. And I have to get my family together and let them know, like, listen, I'm giving y'all this here money. If you don't do right, if you go out and you robbing Peter to pay Paul, you lending all this, you sowing on bad ground, you're going to starve. Because I'm giving you the blueprint. You're going to starve. I'm giving you enough money. I'm giving you more than what school teachers get paid. And they got to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week dealing with other people's kids. I'm giving you more than what school teachers get paid. Ain't no excuse for you to be going broke. That's what I'm telling. That's what I'm telling my outside family that I bless. And so listen to me. This the thing. Man, playing. I'm not. We going into this season. So now the church going into a recession. So that's why the pastors keep begging. And they playing on your spirit. But now you don't realize now you're not giving with a cheerful heart. You giving with a convicted heart. You giving with a manipulated heart. You giving with, and guess what? I'm sitting right here. I could do the same thing on here. I could say, hey, if you've been moved by this message, if I've ever done anything for you, sow into this ministry. Because they trying to counsel me. They don't want this message to go forward. Sow into this ministry. And that's what these people doing. You ain't never heard me say that, and you will never hear me say that. Because I'm going to trust God. If I need some money, I'm going to say, Lord, what gift have you given me? What knowledge have you given me that I could create a product? That I could create business? So what I did yesterday, I took and gave 50% off on my coaching calls to my students. It ain't to the everyday people. It's to people who are on TonyGasselsAcademy.com. They've already invested either in a free course or in another course. So now, boom, they get 50% off on coaching. So I took and I did that. I say, because for me, that's my work, serving. So instead of me going and working for somebody else full time, I will work for God full time. I will use my gifts full time. But I'm not going to beg for donations, tithes and offering. I'm going to serve. So guess what the pastor could do? The pastor could take and be a consultant. If he done built business, he could be a business consultant on the side and have a job. He could take some of his salary from the church and start a landscaping company, start a lawn company, open a little car wash, get young men who come into the church who just got out of prison and let them run the car wash at all of the gas stations in Houston, in Atlanta, in Indianapolis, in whatever, Chicago. Pastor could take and invest. So when the church start to go through a recession, because people can't pay their bills, so they definitely ain't got no money to be given. Pastor got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what I'd be doing if I was a pastor. Jesus was a carpenter. Before he had to walk all the way into his purpose, and the Bible started talking about his carpentership, but he was a carpenter with his daddy, his earthly father, not his heavenly father. So it's like, and the men that he had come, they had trades. They did things. They had jobs. They had certain trades that they did. That's what we're supposed to be doing, not begging for money and not scamming for money, not playing on emotions. But see, this is how Lil Smarty is deceiving Lil Dummy. So so I'm not against putting a price on things, but the price got to make sense. It's like, okay, what is this finna do? Like I got a client, she in my $10,000 program, but we start businesses that they could earn for the rest of their life. But they didn't have to pay so much for consulting that it's going to take them a year, 2, 3 years before they even get it become profitable. So my client just came to me in this program and she got an idea for a product. But what I also do in my program is I promote their product at no additional cost and to get them their first 100 sales. If people want to buy it, I can't force nobody to buy it. But so when you see me promoting something, not always, because sometimes I just do like video things. Somebody could do a shout out for their product, which we'll be doing that. Y'all who signed up for that, y'all books and different stuff is at the office. But I'm at my home office. So we'll be doing that this month and throughout the rest of this year. But I offer that to my students. If a company come to me, I'm going to charge them $5,000 for a shout out. And I'd say no to all of them anyway, because I just don't like promoting stuff. I get those emails all the way. Can you promote this tripod? Can you promote this air condition? Can you promote this whatever? I'm like, no, it has no purpose. It ain't got nothing to do with my purpose. I'm not just finna do it for money. That's why when y'all notice, y'all see the advertisement YouTube put on here, but I don't know if you've ever seen me do a sponsored video. I get an email about them every day, but I turn it down because I'm not no prostitute. And so it got to be something real. It got to be business. It got to be something I could use, something I believe in for me to promote it, not just taking the money. But see, the spirit of Lil Smarty is money hungry. And a lot of these spirits of Lil Smarty, they will not enter the kingdom of heaven because they trying to worship God and mammon. They serving money when you don't need that much money. And you actually could make more money. And see, this is what a lot of people don't realize is when you charge an honest price. Let's use Myron Golden thing, for example. You charge $50,000. Okay, you can have 100 people sign up for that. You have 100 people sign up for that and you make $5 million. You make $5 million right there. But guess what? If you're doing that meeting once a week, you got 7 other days that you could give that 1-2 hours a day. You only working 2 hours a day to make $5 million. So now you could make it 10,000 and you just teaching to a group. So now if instead of having 50,000 for every 50,000 person, you could have 10 people paying 10,000 for that same group. And you teach it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And now you reaching more people and you're not just counting the money. So see, for me, I got over 50,000 students in Tony Gaskins Academy because I care more about reaching more people than making more money. And that's but see, the spirit of Lil Smarty, it make you just focus on money and not actually having real reach and reaching more people. And then the spirit of Lil Dummy, how you feeling inadequate and insecure and less than, and you got to pay somebody a ridiculous amount of money just to brush shoulders with them and to feel special, to feel connected to them, to feel like what's on them is going to rub off on you. But all they are playing on is psychology. They're playing on your psychology with word salad, eloquent word salad. And that right there have you feeling so dumb. And so this right here is showing up. Somebody wrote me, they was like, Tony, you went on Megan Ashley podcast. So y'all must not be friends. For one, we never was friends. I don't have friends. I have colleagues and associates. I don't have female friends. I'm a married man. So for one, I will mentor people. I will talk to people. And a lot of that stuff what's be said on a podcast is just in talking. It's not like we talk every day. We have had conversations, but I could count on one hand how many conversations we've had. And what y'all have to understand about me is I could know somebody, but that don't stop me for sharing the truth, the word of God. I'm not going to not speak on something because it steps on the toes of somebody I know. Somebody was like, well, when the lady, she just was being messy. when you went on Anthony O'Neill podcast, did you talk about the spirit of Lil Ugly? I didn't know he had the spirit of Lil Ugly on him, because we didn't talk about love and relationships, his love and relationships. And I hadn't seen him yet. He hadn't got to that point of ignorance and boldness, bold ignorance, to say what he said on that pulpit. When I met him in person, he wasn't there. And we never had a deep conversation. He only called me about business ventures, doing events together and stuff like that. And I always turned it down. I didn't have the time or the wherewithal or just, it wasn't the right season for me. But now I see why. I see that it was God showing me, like, hey, this young man is not abstinent. So if you partner with him on an event, y'all gonna fill up a venue with 1,000 women, and these women will get plucked off. And then that will taint your name and your ministry, because the women will come because of you being a married and faithful man. So you are like a shepherd. You are like a covering in that venue. And then if this person starts getting DMs from them women, and he's not abstinent, and he will converse with one of these beautiful women, and then he will trick her into the bed, her blood on your hands. So that's why I don't do collaboration. A podcast is not a collaboration. That's dissemination. That's me disseminating, which means to spreading a message to an audience. That's not collaboration. So you got to understand that. We're not making any, I'm actually making them money. It's not making me any money. But the message is reaching an audience. But I don't necessarily care about that to a certain extent. So just like I reached out to the Hardly Initiated guy, and I said, hey, y'all stop recycling my clips, because they be going viral, and I don't like going viral. I want to do the work of the Lord, but stop using my clips, because y'all making money from that. And I don't want to keep going viral, and y'all keep bringing up the same thing, because you pulling 60 seconds out of context and posting it to start mess. And also, that's when my face was puffy. I lost weight since then. So stop posting the old me. And then they didn't ask me to come on. The guy that I talked to, he'd asked me to come on 3 or 4 times since my last time. And I told him no. I said, I'm not doing podcasts right now. And I've been getting a lot of podcast invites, and I'm telling everybody, no. I don't care to be famous. I don't care to be viral. I don't care. When I did that, when I went and did those podcasts, that was just me stepping back out there, because I had been just quiet for so long and just chilling and not saying nothing. So I knew I had to start to get back out there and make a little bit of noise, because I knew that the Lord was starting to wake my spirit up, and that I was going to have to be here on the front line teaching and sharing about the deception. And none of what I say is hating, because anything that somebody doing, I have the positioning and the influence to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not hating on anybody. I am not jealous on anybody, but I'm calling the stuff out, because if you don't do business, if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're not an infopreneur, if you're not a purposepreneur, if you're not an authorpreneur, then you can be deceived and not even know you're being deceived. And so that's what you have to realize. And we all have our different tactics and how we sell and what we do. But a lot of stuff is just overpriced or underhanded. Underhanded and overpriced. And I don't agree with it, because we don't need that much money, especially if we claim to know the Lord and be a man of faith, a woman of faith. Jesus wasn't going around. Can you imagine the money Jesus could have been swimming in had he just been focused on getting money? People would have, the way pastors are asking you to empty your pocketbook, imagine what people would have emptied from their pocketbook for Jesus when he could raise their dead family member from the dead. So the money, when you are working with a pure heart, the money is a byproduct of your service. It can't be the focus of your service. And this, what I teach in my life coach certification, which no, that's not $9.30 because it got an ROI on it, a different type of ROI on it, and because it's a industry of integrity. So I have to charge a respectable price. And there's still people that done got it for a little bit of money, you know, a little over $100. I remember I had sold it for $165 on Christmas one year, and two people signed. It was two of the people that bought it and joined mymentor.life, and then they wrote into their bank and requested a refund for the $165, but they was on my site making money, getting booked on mymentor.life. And that's why I have to charge a more respectable price, because you get bottom feeders, you get low level, low integrity people that mix in with the people who really, really needed that blessing. And so they mess it up for the other people. And so that's what people will tell you when they charging them crazy prices. They'll say, oh, I'm charging it because I want a certain level of integrity. You actually get more people that's greedy when you charge crazy prices. You get more scammers, because scammers pay more to look real. Listen to what I just said. Scammers spend more to look real. But when you charge a market price, a respectable price, then that's when you're going to get the most honest people. And you ain't even going to get the scammers because you ain't charging enough for the scammer to put their badge on of unreal. That's what you got to realize and understand. But hey, I try to keep these videos to an hour. I might, if I get to the office a little later, shoot another one. Might be another one going up later tonight, 9 p.m. That'll be my goal, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern. Keep your eyes open just in case, but I won't always get to do it just because the schedule might get a little crazy some days. But stay tuned and just check in, you know, twice a day for the video just to see. And for those of y'all who partners on the channel, you know, cut it on, let it play, because now you invest in the channel. So that right there will get started. They have not finalized everything because some people payment didn't go through. And so I don't know how they handle that part of it, if they like go down the list to the people who was waiting. So if you win and you made an account on Gigastar and you didn't get to invest, I don't know if they send an email out to y'all and say, hey, we had a couple of, or if it just closed and just whatever don't go through, which I feel like it's more so that, like, whatever got kicked back, whatever got denied from somebody's bank or the insufficient funds or what have you, it just don't go through, which I'm not worried about that. I'm not opposed to that, because that's less percentage that I've, you know, given, and it'll leave a little bit of room if I want to do it again in the future. But I don't know that I will ever give up more than maybe 30%. So if this gets close to maxed out, then I will only have another 10% that I could give, because I wouldn't want to give up too much, you know, because this will be something that this channel, my kids will be running it and using AI and redoing stuff and all that. You know, it'll still be here. It'll be in my trust, and it'll still, as long as YouTube is up and is a thing and it's earning, which I don't see it going anywhere, because this has become a part of society, a necessary part of the society. I don't see how it could be replaced by something. It could be enhanced, but I don't see it being replaced. So, hey, God bless you on that. And that's what we doing over here, man. We doing real business. We ain't charging all these crazy prices. But since I mentioned it on this video, I have made that mistake before. I mentioned it on the video. Now, if you don't, this video is October 2nd. If you go and you look at Tony Gaston Academy and the course not $9.30 no more, that means you didn't see it on October 2nd. So this is only valid for those on October 2nd who get their $9.30 course. Because when I get time to sit down and update the price, because I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I ain't get the time to sit down and do it. When I get the time to sit down and do it, then I'm going to change the price. And no, don't write in talking about, Tony, can you go back to $9.30? Nope. You should be watching the video. You missing the video. Missed your blessing. That a life lesson. Next time, you know, watch the video, because you don't know what kind of blessing gonna be in the video. And somebody wrote me, Tony, I went trying to book the session, but they 500. Because that's because you going to mymentor.life. You got to be already a student in TonyGastonAcademy.com to get that 50% off email. That ain't for the general public. See what I'm saying? I reward loyalty and support. Because a lot of times you'll have stragglers and spectators, people who don't really support you, and they'll want to come and benefit from something. I don't really like to deal too much with those type of spirits. So the people who actually support me, I send out crazy, crazy, crazy blessings to those people. And the reason why, because I'm crazy blessed by God. So I try to, want to be like Christ. I want to emulate that. So I want to give out the type of blessing that I get. My phone about to go dead. But hey, God bless you. We'll talk soon. Go out here and holler at my wife. She just texted me, so I need to hop on off of here. God bless you. We'll talk soon.